Our next person for public comment is Dusky TRNI. I'm going to allow you to talk, so feel free to unmute yourself and you can start public comment.
Hi, my name's Dusky, and I'm a stakeholder in the community. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Okay, and I'm an original member of the Resistance Northridge Indivisible and currently the treasurer of the group. First, I want to say, Hector, you're awesome, amazing. Thank you for that. And I, of course, echo the sentiments of everybody who spoke before me regarding John Lee, so I'm not going to rehash all of that because they were all right on. But the one additional comment I want to make is about honor. At one of the town hall / debates back in 2019 that I attended, John Lee introduced his dad and talked about honor, how important honor was to their family and heritage, and his dad looked like he was going to cry. He said how honored his father was that Mr. Lee was running for the council seat in CD12. And I've thought about this a lot, you know, with all of this stuff going on, and that kept coming back to the forefront of my mind. If honor is supposed to be so important to him, as well as I would hope the neighborhood council, as well as our city council, if it's supposed to be so important, I'd like him to explain just how honorable it is to avoid all transparency and accountability for what he's suspected of doing. If he's going to be honorable, then just be transparent and tell us, yes, you are, yes, you aren't, and why you don't think you did anything wrong. It's all I would like to hear. If he was truly honorable, he would be transparent. If he can't be honorable, he needs to resign. Thank you.
Thank you, Dusky. Our next public commenter is also a phone number, so I'm going to read your area code and then your last 3 digits, and then I'll allow you to talk, and you'll be able to unmute yourself. Again, if you're calling in audio only and you need to unmute yourself after I've allowed you to talk, it's *6. The area code is 860, and the last 3 digits of the phone number are 408. So I'm allowing you to talk. Feel free to unmute yourself and begin your public comment.
Hi, thank you. My name is Peter Clune, and I'm actually not one of your stakeholders. I live in CD14. I'm a stakeholder for the Downtown LA Neighborhood Council. And I just wanted to call in because it's incredibly heartening to see a neighborhood council that's pushing to take proactive steps in holding their city council member responsible for these types of corruption. I'm in CD14. I'm sure you've all paid attention to everything that's happening with Jose Huizar, and you guys don't want to end up in the situation we're in, where we've basically been unrepresented for years. There's a similar push downtown, trying to push through our neighborhood council to see how we can respond to this corruption through our planning and land use committee, and that is also being held up in waiting for an opinion from the city's attorney's office, who we've been waiting on for a month and a half. So I really see there is this pattern of obstructionism coming through the city attorney's office, pushing back against neighborhood councils where they don't like you asserting your authority and your ability to speak up for your stakeholders. And so I really just wanted to reach out and encourage you to push through this. You are the client. If they're telling you this is a privileged conversation, waive that privilege. Let people see what they are saying to you, what reasons they're putting forward. Because I think a lot of recent citywide opinions that we've seen come out of the city attorney's office, specifically in regard to things like rent cancellation, have been pretty poorly argued and poorly supported and sort of like painfully political. And so I'd really urge you to not take them at just what they say and push back in the ways that you can, because you really don't want to end up in the situation that CD14 is in, where we've basically been completely unrepresented for years. So keep pushing. I really hope you keep going forward. Thank you.
Thank you. Our next commenter is Olivia. Olivia, I'm going to allow you to talk. And you feel free to unmute yourself and begin public comment.
Thank you so much for giving me a forum to speak. I really appreciate your time, especially as I know your meeting is running late. I am a member of the West Valley People's Alliance. I'm also a member of the West Hills Neighborhood Council. So I wanted to call in to applaud this neighborhood council for having the courage to put it on the agenda. It hasn't even made it that far in West Hills. So I really thank you for your courage for putting it on the agenda. And I'm disappointed that it was, taken off tonight. And so I'm not going to take the time to reiterate about John Lee, other than to say that you know as well as I do for every neighborhood council member that the first thing that we have to do before we can participate in any way is to take an ethics training. And I understand that that's the same for every city government official, but I will not go there. I'm going to go back just to in terms of transparency and why neighborhood councils exist. So when the neighborhood councils were first made, they're there to kind of flatten the hierarchy so that the city government is closer to the people, right? The people have a right to transparency. The government serves the people, not the other way around. And so I really encourage you to continue to push for that transparency. We are in an advisory role, and so there's nothing in the Brown Act saying that the city attorney is saying that this is because of client-attorney privilege. But this is just our role to advise, and we're advising transparency. What could be wrong with that? And one has to question, when the city wants to silence the people, then that is the time where you have to reconsider that government in all forms. And so I thank you so much for your time, and I see the rest of it. Thank you.
Thank you, Olivia. Our next person for public comment is Assad. I'm going to allow you to talk. And if you're on the phone, *6 to unmute yourself.
All right. Good evening, everybody. I'm speaking in my capacity as a CD12 president and not as the Porter Ranch Neighborhood Council member. Many of you know I ran against John Lee in last March elections. And unfortunately, ethic violations is not being investigated in the city for many people, not only John Lee. I mean, John Lee, we all know, got away with sexual harassment before. And then through his career, he was always doing pay-to-play, regardless as a staffer, or even through the special elections, and even through the March 3 elections. I complained to the city ethics about so many city ethics violations during the elections, during his work, but nobody wants to listen. I gave hard evidence with dates, names, and times, but nobody listens. I mean, the city attorney, she's blocking the NCs, which is, let's say, maximum 60 people. But eventually, they have to respond to the CD12 residents, over 200,000 people. And they have to remember, our city attorney, Mike Feuer, is running for mayor right now. Along the line, the first question is going to be in the debate. Where do you stand from the John Lee issue, and why your deputies are putting gag orders on the neighborhood councils? Besides that, in support of your 11E, we need to know. I mean, maybe we're just throwing stones at the guy. Let him come up. If I'm accused of something, I come in and defend myself. And I support you totally, guys. Thank you.
Thank you. Our next